Let me ask you something that might sting a little. Why do some people seem to move ahead in life effortlessly, while others work just as hard, maybe even harder, but stay stuck exactly where they are? It's not luck, it's not talent, it's not even about how much effort they put in. It's about where their mind focuses. Rich minds focus on opportunity, poor minds focus on obstacles, and that single difference shapes everything. You see, most people think success starts with money, but it actually starts with attention. What you choose to focus on determines what you see, what you attract, and what you build. The rich aren't necessarily smarter. They just pay attention to things that expand their world, not things that shrink it. But poor minds, they're trapped in survival mode. They focus on fear, on problems, on what might go wrong, instead of asking, what can I make happen? And if you're honest with yourself, you've probably had both mindsets at some point. We all have. So today, I want to break down the biggest focus differences between rich minds and poor minds. Because once you understand what to look for and what to stop giving energy to, your entire life direction changes. Let's dive in. Point 1. Rich minds focus on possibilities. Poor minds focus on limitations. When something new comes up, a business idea, a challenge, or an opportunity, rich minds instantly ask, how can I make this work? Poor minds, on the other hand, say, they'll never work for me. See the difference? The difference? One question opens the door. The other slams it shut. Rich people look for reasons to try. Poor people look for reasons to quit. If your focus is always on what you can't do, you'll never notice what you could do. And life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards direction. Point 2. Rich minds focus on learning. Poor minds focus on earning. When you talk to truly wealthy people, mentally, emotionally, financially, they're obsessed with learning. They read, they observe, they ask questions because they know the more they learn, the more they can earn. Poor minds reverse it. They say, when I start earning more, then I'll learn. But that's like saying, when I get muscles, then I'll go to the gym. You learn first. You earn later. Every skill you sharpen, every book you finish, every failure you analyze, that's mental capital. It compounds just like money. Point 3. Rich minds focus on the long game. Poor minds focus on instant results. You know what poor minds crave? Quick wins, overnight success, easy dopamine. They can't stand waiting, so they jump from one thing to another, chasing every shiny shortcut. But rich minds understand something powerful. Consistency builds momentum, and momentum builds wealth. They're patient. They know the tree takes years before it gives fruit, so they plant, they water, and they trust the process. Ask yourself this. Are you building something that will last 5 years from now? Or are you still looking for the one haka that'll fix your life this month? Point 4. Rich minds focus on value. Poor minds focus on price. Poor minds ask, how much does it cost? Rich minds ask, what's it worth? A poor mind sees a $200 course and says, that's expensive. A rich mind sees the same course and says, if this skill makes me $2,000 later, that's a tank's return. That's how they think, in returns, not expenses. And this goes beyond money. They invest their time, their attention, their energy only in things that give them growth back. Meanwhile, poor minds waste those same resources scrolling, complaining, comparing, then wonder why nothing changes. Where you put your attention, that's where your results grow. Point 5. Rich minds focus on solutions. Poor minds focus on problems. Every day brings problems. That's life. But what you do with those problems decides who you become. Poor minds get stuck there. They keep replaying the same issues. Why me? It's not fair. I can't believe this happened. I can't believe this happened. Rich minds feel the same frustration, but then they shift their focus. They ask, okay, what can I do about it? They know that the energy spent complaining could have been used creating. And here's something interesting. The more you focus on problems, the more problems appear. But when you focus on solutions, you actually start seeing possibilities you couldn't before. That's not magic. That's focus at work. Now pause for a moment. If any of these hit you, if you've caught yourself focusing on limits, on price, on instant wins, that's okay. It means you're becoming aware. And awareness is where transformation starts. Because here's the truth. Rich minds aren't born rich. They're trained to, they've just practiced focusing on things that expand their mindset, not things that shrink it. I'll stop here for part 1. That's about halfway through. Point 6, rich minds focus on growth. Poor minds focus on comfort. Let's be honest. Comfort feels good. It's soft, safe, predictable, but nothing grows there. Poor minds chase comfort because they mistake peace for progress. They think if life feels easy, that means they're doing well. Rich minds know the opposite. They understand that growth hurts. It's uncomfortable, uncertain, and often lonely. But that's the price of expansion. Every breakthrough in life comes after a stretch. When you do something you're not yet ready for. Rich minds don't wait to feel ready. They move anyway. And when they do, the discomfort that scares poor minds becomes the fuel that builds them stronger. So ask yourself, are you chasing comfort or growth because you can't have both? Point 7. Rich minds focus on self-responsibility. Poor minds focus on blame. Here's one of the biggest mindset shifts you'll ever make. Rich minds take ownership of everything. If they fail, they don't say, "It wasn't my fault." They say, "Okay, what did I do wrong? What can I learn from this?" Poor minds do the opposite. They point fingers. They blame their boss, the system, their parents, their past. And while they might be right, that blame robs them of power. Because the moment you say it's someone else's fault, you also say it's someone else's responsibility to fix it. Rich minds know better. They don't waste energy fighting circumstances. They use that energy to change them. If you want control over your life, stop giving control away through blame. Point 8. Rich minds focus on discipline. Poor minds focus on motivation. Motivation is like a spark. It burns bright for a moment and then fades. Discipline is the engine that keeps moving even when you don't feel like it. Poor minds wait to feel ready. They wait for inspiration for the right moment. Rich minds act first. Feelings come later. They don't care if they're tired or uninspired. They've trained themselves to show up regardless. Because they understand this. Success doesn't come from the days you feel good. It comes from the days you don't quit when you don't feel good. Every time you do something hard when no one's watching, you're building self-respect. And that's worth more than any external reward. Point 9. Rich minds focus on circles that challenge them. Poor minds focus on circles that comfort them. Look around you. Who are you talking to every day? Are they stretching your mindset or keeping you small? Rich minds surround themselves with people who are better than them in some way. Smarter, wiser, more disciplined. Because they want to absorb those habits and energies. Poor minds prefer comfort. They hang around people who make them feel safe, not inspired. They talk about gossip, not goals. About others, not ideas. And slowly that environment becomes their ceiling. Rich minds know that environment shapes focus. So they choose to be the dumbest person in a smart room, because that's how you rise. Your circle is either your cage or your launch pad. Choose wisely, firstly. Point 10. Rich minds focus on purpose. Poor minds focus on survival. This is the deepest difference of all. Poor minds wake up just to get through the day. Eat, work, sleep, repeat. They live reactively. They chase money, not meaning. Rich minds wake up for something. They have a direction, a mission, even if it's small, because purpose gives focus its aim. When you have something bigger than yourself to move toward, every decision becomes clearer. The truth is, purpose is the secret energy source behind everything successful people do. It's what keeps them grounded during failure and humbled during success. Without purpose, your focus scatters. With it, your focus becomes unstoppable. Now let's wrap this up. If you notice something powerful in these 10 shifts, it's this. Rich minds don't have different lives. They have different lenses. They see the same world as everyone else, but their focus zooms in on growth, value, and potential, not fear, cost, and comfort. It's not luck. It's not privilege. It's awareness, and awareness can be built, starting right now. Every time you catch yourself focusing on the wrong thing, pause. Ask, what would a rich mind focus on here? That one question can change your entire direction. Because where focus goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, results grow. Here's the final truth. You don't need to be rich to think rich, but you'll never be rich until you start thinking that way. Focus is free, but it's also the most expensive thing you can waste. So guard it, train it, because once your focus shifts, your future follows. Now, before you go, think about this. Which point hit you the hardest today? Was it about comfort, blame, instant results? Drop it in the comments. I want to know what's shifting in your mind right now. If this video opened your eyes even a little, don't just scroll away. Hit that like button so YouTube knows this message matters. And if you're serious about rewiring your mindset, subscribe. Because every video here is designed to train your focus, sharpen your thinking, and help you become the kind of person success is drawn to. You don't need luck. You need clarity. And clarity starts with focus. Remember the title? Rich minds focus here. Poor minds miss it every time. Now the question is, which one are you training today?